How are you doing? I'm Tom, and like most of you, I'm just rolling with all of the changes right now. And there's a lot of changes with the shutdowns and quarantines and everything else. And this topic's a change from a normal topics. But I really felt like this was something a lot of you could use right now, and that's how to save money for normal people. And there's two parts to this. There's the simple, easy, what it is and how you do it part. And then there's the complicated part that we'll get to in just a minute. So let's start with the easy, simple, what it is and how you do it. So what is saving money? What's cash flow? How much money do you have coming in? How much do you have going out over a given time period? A week, a month, a year, whatever. All right, if you have more coming in than going out, what's left over, that's your savings. All right, if you have more going out than coming in, then you're either using money you previously saved to cover the difference, or you're going into debt. That's not a good place to be. That's not where we want to go. All right. So how do you manage that? How do you fix that to get things going where you want them to go on saving money? Well, you start by writing down your income. What is your income for a month? And hopefully you have an income right now, because I know there's a lot going on, but hopefully you have something coming in. And that's where we're going to start. Whatever you got coming in a week, multiply that times 4, that's your monthly income. Or look on your statement. If you're still working, hopefully you are. And if you're not, we're going to get to all that shortly too. But so you got your income. Now for your expenses, you want to know exactly how much you spend for a month. And most of us know about, we know our big payments and so forth, but I'm talking exactly here. So you need to go through for a month and track every penny you spend. And if you're using a debit card, this part's actually pretty easy. You can log on to your checking account online, and your bank's more than likely already has every expense you have for a month broken down into categories. And that's what you want. You want, how much do you spend in categories? So just so you can keep track of it. And if you're using mostly cash, you're going to need to literally write down every expense for a month. Because that's the only way you're going to know exactly where your money's going. And that's what we're being exact here. And when I say exactly, I mean exactly. Your car, how much are you spending on gas a month? What's your car payment? If you have one, what are you spending on insurance? So you make a list. Now you got your expenses. Now you've got your income. What's the difference? And hopefully you have more income than expenses. If so, you're saving money. For your normal everyday expenses, those are going to be really consistent month to month. So truly you only need to calculate your expenses for just any given month. That's just going to give you something to work with here. And we have different goals here. All right, some of us are trying to save money so we can get ahead. Some of us are really hurting right now financially, and we're just trying to get by. Once you have your expenses and your income listed, now you've got information here. Now you've got something you can work with. So you want to go through your list of expenses. And you want to first of all look at what can you cut out. Do you have any subscriptions on there that you really don't need? Cable TV, do you really need it? And that just depends on you and your goals and your situation, but that's the first thing. What can you cut out? The second thing is, all right, what can you cut back on? Where can you save money on all your expenses? And this is all those random tips you've heard all these years on how to save $1 here and there. This is where you apply those. All right, so you want to look at every item on your list. How can I save money on every single one of them? And you can research every single one of them. Type in, how do I save money on my power bill? Type in, how do I save money on my insurance? I mean, there's lots of great information out there for every single item on how to save money on them. And you want to start with your biggest expenses, and you want to put together a plan for all of those. And you're going to be amazed at how easily you can cut back on your expenses, just doing that. And for those of you out there that are really hurting right now, this is going to take a lot of the stress off of you, because now you know where you're at. So much of the stress we experience is from uncertainty. Well, you just eliminated the uncertainty as soon as you put together your lists. And if you're in a really bad situation, your income's next to nothing or is nothing right now, and you've got some really big expenses like a big mortgage or something, call some people. I mean, there's professionals out there that deal with this that will help you. Do a search on that. Call some financial professionals and get some advice. Put together a plan on how you're going to deal with this so that you're not just all stressed out trying to figure it out. All right, and as far as income, I'm not really going to get into that because there's tons of stuff out there on how to increase your income. I mean, just type in how to make more money. There's thousands of things on that. But I will say it's generally easier to save money than make money. Making money is not easy. That's why it's called work. All right? But that's your two ends. Once you have those, you either have to increase your income, cut your expenses, or do both to get your savings where you want it to be. That's the only way you control cash flow. It really is that simple. And just to show you what I mean, if you make $1,000 a month and you spend $1,000 a month, then you're breaking even. If you increase your income by $500 a month, now you're making $1,500 a month, you're spending $1,000 a month, you got $500 in savings. If you make $1,000 a month, you cut your expenses by $500 a month, you still have $500 in savings. If you increase your income by $500 a month, you're making $1,500. You decrease your expenses by $500, and now that your expenses are $500, now you have $1,000 savings. All right, that's cash flow savings. That's how you think about that. That's how you get to where you need to be on your savings goals. And everything I mentioned on the expenses and income, writing that down, that's just simple money management. I mean, that's basic personal finances 101. When did we lose that? I'm blaming the baby boomers. And just so y'all know, I blame them for pretty much everything. All right, now we need to talk about the complicated part. And this is if you're in a really bad spot financially. You need to change your lifestyle. I mean, just bottom line, that's the big problem with most people, is their lifestyle. And basically, as the old saying goes, you're trying to keep up with the Joneses. Well, folks, that doesn't work. I mean, it doesn't. Right now, the average American has $38,000 in personal debt, not counting mortgages. All right, so the Joneses, they're in debt up to their eyeballs. All right, they're stressed out over finances. They're struggling. Yeah, they got a big house and a nice car, but they don't own it because they got a big mortgage and they got a big car payment. If that's where you want to be, you can get there. You can get there pretty easy, I promise you. The thing is, you got to figure out is that where you want to be? And I'm seriously. All right. So to really save money, all the things I mentioned on cutting expenses, that helps. And it really adds up and it can save you a lot of money. Where most people get in trouble though is their lifestyle. And to fix that part, if you've got some serious expenses, you've got to change your lifestyle. That means changing who you are. All right, that means changing your values or what you value. Well, what is your idea of success? All right, and those are some tough things to change. I mean, seriously. And if you decide to make some serious lifestyle changes so that you can get ahead financially, so that you can save money, so that you're in great shape, you're going to be swimming against the current. You're going to be on your own. Most people aren't going to support you in trying to change your lifestyle to be responsible and save money. All right. We live in a society that just promotes stupidity and irresponsibility. I mean, just bottom line, folks. And if you don't believe me, turn the TV on and just flip through a couple of channels. Okay, and this isn't a conservative thing or a liberal thing. This is not politics. This is just reality in life. Okay, our culture promotes stupidity. And people don't pat you on the back for doing good. All right, if you spend your weekend making repairs to your car instead of carrying it to a mechanic so that you can save some money, the only person that's going to be proud of you when you get done is yourself. You're not getting a pat on the back for that. If you go out and you spend a ton of money on a new whatever car that's got the latest and greatest engine, your friends are going to be like, oh man, that's a gorgeous car. Come in for a ride. But if you go out and you buy an old clunker that just happens to be low miles and gets good gas mileage and costs you next to nothing and it's going to give you years of dependable transportation, your friends ain't going to congratulate you on getting that. All right. That's something you're going to have to be proud of. Nobody else is going to be proud of you for doing that. So, not only do you have to make changes in yourself to lifestyle to seriously save money, you're not going to get any help here. And you're not going to get any congratulations. And you're going to have to convince your spouse to get on board with this. All right, because if your spouse is not on board with this, you're going to have some problems, some serious problems. Tell your spouse that, that vacation y'all were planning to whatever theme park, that you want to take that money and instead of going on vacation, you want to spend that money on getting rid of some debt. All right, if your spouse is not on board with those lifestyle changes, let me know how that conversation works out for you. All right, it's not going to go well. So it's tough, being responsible. It's bottom line. But to ever truly be financially secure, you've got to. You can't think like everyone else, or you're going to end up like everyone else, which is, for the most part, broken in debt. That's it. And you have to figure out what successful means to you. Is successful carrying the family to that theme park for the vacation? Or is successful spending a weekend at the house working on stuff? All right, one of them gets you into a great place financially. The other leads to bankruptcy. I know a lot of people that have declared bankruptcy. I know a lot of marriages that have ended because of financial problems and stress. And I'm here to tell you, the ones that declare bankruptcy, just about every one of them, that was, one of their yearly things was to go to a theme park. They couldn't afford it. Now, I'm all for families doing stuff together. Literally, it's great for families go on vacations together, only if you can afford it. Most of you can't afford it. All right, if you're putting it on a credit card, you can't afford it. And that's one of my principles is, with the exception of a house, if you can't pay cash for it, you can't afford it. Well, that's a hard thing for somebody to say, I can't afford something. I mean, seriously, especially when everybody around you is telling you, yeah, you can afford that. Again, if you got to put it on a credit card, you can't afford it. And it hurts to say that. But if you ever want to get to a place where you can afford it, that's what you got to do. That's a hard change to make. Right now is the time to be trying to save money. Right now is the time to make sure you have a job and make sure you stay employed. Again, we don't know what 6 months is going to look like. Nobody's thinking past this. Okay, when we go back to work, then what? And nobody knows what then. I mean, the economy might be booming in 6 months. This might be, hey, one of the most prosperous times in human history. But odds are in 6 months, things are not going to be looking good. You just need to make sure you're going to be prepared if they're not. All right, and it starts with just managing your money. And don't listen to the baby boomers. God bless, and have a good day.